if I, if you have questions, I guess just type them. But I've never done this before, so I'm not used to not hearing people talk back to me or interrupt me to answer questions. I think, Julie, you said about 10 minutes? Okay. Well, I'm the executive director of Artist Boat, and our mission is to promote awareness and preservation of coastal margins through the marine environment, uh, and the marine environment through the disciplines of science and art. And we have 5 programs. We serve about 10,000 students and adults a year. Y'all are discussing careers, and I guess I have a career in science and I have a career in art. I like to use the word STEAM instead of STEM because first, abilities to communicate via visual imagery, via text, to draw symbols and signs for directions, all started with art. So I don't really use STEM, I use STEAM. Artist Boat, mostly our programs are not too heavy on technology or engineering, but definitely math and some technology. I thought I would first describe our programs and then kind of give you my background. But we have our Eco-Art Workshop and Adventure program. So we do a 2-hour workshop in the classroom. It's an hour on kind of estuarine ecology 101 and non-point source pollution. We have models and kits and maps, and then they learn how to make a watercolor of a native animal that lives in Galveston Bay. So we do really place-based education and project-based learning. Every single one of our programs results in a product that the students can take home or share on their campus. Then they come on a 4-hour kayak adventure, so they learn how to paddle with a partner. They see the wetlands firsthand. They learn the functions of the marsh. They do some water quality testing, and then they learn how to make a plein air watercolor, a traditional landscape, which being able to represent a 3-dimensional world on a flat space is a technology. And then they take their watercolors home. So that program is kind of standalone. We did have a Be Wet grant and developed curriculum for teachers to use in the classroom, and you can find it on our website. And then the curriculum also has NOAA extensions to NOAA data products. So that's another way to engage technology. But all of the lessons integrate art and science through different disciplines. So there's like a social studies unit, how do you build a marsh restoration project? What's your budget? How do you figure out how many acres? Stuff like that. Then our other program that's quite popular is our Art Residency Program. So on the slide you see a mosaic with a microscope. Students do art and science, and then they create large-scale public works for their campuses that interpret natural processes or ecosystems. So the slide is a detail of the phytoplankton that they created, and they create that all by looking at phytoplankton in microscopes and drawing them. But the mosaic is actually 230 square feet of mosaic tile. Our other programs that we have are habitat restoration adventures. So we have restored 35 acres of dunes on Galveston Island since Hurricane Ike, which destroyed everything. And then we have a Coastal Waters Institute professional development for teachers that's based on the curriculum that you can find online. And then we also produce a manual and a professional development to help teachers launch low-frequency radio stations from their campuses that broadcast ocean literacy messages. So, oh, and then our program that we have that anyone can participate in is our public adventure program. But all the different programs use different things, primarily science and art, and the technologies are rather simple. So I like to remind people that technology doesn't necessarily mean it's plugged into something. It's something we have created to do work with, whether it's a symbol or a pencil or a computer. So my background is pretty simple in that I have a bachelor's of fine arts and I have a bachelor's of science, so it's not a far stretch that I would want to integrate art and science. But as far as careers, people ask me that all the time about how to get students involved in careers in science or technology or engineering or math or art. My dad was a marine biologist. He was the person who developed the technologies to keep sharks alive and to ship them to large aquariums all over the world, and designed the tanks for the sharks based on what type of shark and size, because sharks have a certain way they swim, and they were becoming exhausted in captivity because they didn't have enough time to glide. So I grew up with sharks in the backyard, and our neighbor was Flipper Sea School and then the Dolphin Research Center, so I grew up with dolphins for neighbors. And so there was lots of science there and animal husbandry, and I grew up in the Florida Keys, so I grew up with seagrass beds, mangroves, and coral reefs, and people came from all over the world to study sharks. And so I was just really fortunate that I grew up with a very creative person. Can't is not part of my vocabulary because so many people say you can't do this, you can't do that, and they invented salt water, and you can go to any aquarium on earth now and see coral animals and sharks and rays, and in the early 60s it wasn't possible. So anyway, I'm a great lover of beauty, and I think that to get kids or people motivated for careers, they have to have experiences, and those experiences have to be real, and they have to be related to a place, because all knowledge is local, and you can't expand your knowledge base to the global. Oh, um, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm just looking at your notes. I'm sorry. Um, anyway, I think that completely immersed in all components of my parents' work, and we showed up so much at Flipper Sea School that we had to do fish house duty before we could go see the dolphins, and we would be allowed to feed the dolphins, but then we had to write in their journals their behaviors and what happened while we were there. And then every summer college students came, and my brother and I were the guides to the mangroves and to the seagrass beds. And so I grew up just interpreting nature for people, and it's beautiful. And so I also became an artist, which is highly technical. Most people think art is just paint whatever, but uh, it can be that, but it also can be a profound exploration of ideas and a true search to figure out how to communicate ideas. And very often artists are communicating ideas that science and other fields are struggling with, and show up with a way to bring it to a larger audience first. So I wish I could hear you all so that you could ask questions. I guess you can ask questions on the screen. Is that okay, Julie, for them to ask me questions? Because I want to know what people want. Oh, that's fine. I can read. Someone's typing right now, so it might be slow. My dad did a lot of work with Moat Marine Lab and was part of the getting it all set up. I have never been to Moat Marine Lab, but I met many people from Moat. marine lab as a child. Yes, they do a lot of cancer research. Most people know this, but sharks never get cancer. Do other people have questions? Well, I don't live in the Keys anymore. Bob asked, is John Pennekamp State Park still a nice place to dive? The Keys has been heavily impacted by fertilizer runoff and all kinds of problems. The reefs do not look like what they looked like when I was a child, and I think you have to go to really far-flung places now to see reef systems like the ones that I grew up with. We've been to Honduras and Indonesia, and they were beautiful. Does anybody else have questions about careers, or where their students might get experience like the ones Artist Boat offers? Oh yeah, I have. Oh, I was going to say that a really good office to contact for you guys is the NOAA Bay and Watershed Education Training Programs in your region, because they know who has funding for experiential place-based learning in watersheds. So I would definitely look up NOAA Be Wet and see who your regional grant officers are. You may be able to apply for funding, but more importantly, they could tell you which non-formal science institutions or organizations are providing that. And just real quick, just to wrap it up, Artist Boat is really excited. We're about to conserve 375 acres on Galveston Island to have a permanent home and establish a Gulf Coast Environmental Education Center. So those are two pictures of what the place looks like. And you can see Texas City in the background, which is the largest refinery complex in the United States. So it's really a great place to talk about nature and multiple uses. And then just as far as careers, this year I finally got some awards. I'm a National Audubon Society Together Green Fellow, and they just opened their application for this year, so y'all should look into that. And then I got an award as a Gulf Guardian, which is a huge achievement, and after the BP spill, and I think my dad would be really proud of me. And then I'm the founder of Artist Boat. But the thing I'm most proud of is that it finally snowed one Christmas and I could make a snowman on the Gulf of Mexico. So there's my snowman. So anyway, I appreciate your time. Yes, it's NOAA Be Wet, which is Bay and Watershed Education Training Program.
Thank you, Karla.